So the federal government has spent about $220 billion more in President Trump's first 100 days in office than it did during the same period of time last year. So this despite promises to cut spending. So CBS News analyzed the Treasury Department's daily financial reports to track the money. CBS News Vice President of Data and Journalism, John Kelly, is joining us live now to break down all of these numbers. Glad you can do that for us. What are the main sources of the increase in your number crunching?
The increases are really the things that we know are big ticket spending items consistently over the past decade or decades. Medicare, Social Security, and the military and veterans benefits. Those things have continued to increase as the population ages, and there are things that are intractable problems and issues that many Congresses and many administrations have struggled to get a handle on, and they increase at large numbers that are really hard to catch up with if the cutting is happening in other areas. And then the biggest one, the one that's growing exponentially, is the payments to pay down Treasury securities, so paying off the national debt. The amount that has gone up just in this first few months is $30 billion versus just a year ago. That amount has doubled in just 3 years. And that's a product of the debt itself growing, but also the interest rate struggles that we've seen recently that are affecting consumers across the country. Those also affect the government's debt.
Now, DOJ claims they cut $160 billion in funding. So what did you find?
Sure. We looked at the claims that the Department of Government Efficiency has made, and we did that in partnership with CBS News Confirmed, and we were looking to understand, how much of that is real, how much of that can be documented. And the department has a website where they cite the numbers, and those numbers, only about 40%, less than 40% of what has been claimed as saved is itemized in a way that you can really check into it. But more than that, we wanted to be able to compare that against where the cuts were happening, and they're not happening in those big spending areas we just talked about that make up about 2/3 of the government spending. They're also really small in comparison to, say, the annual spending of the government. They make up, that 160 billion would be about 2% of what the government spends on average over the last 5 years in 1 year. That would be like a family with, say, $10,000 in monthly bills deciding to trim their spending by $200.
All right, John Kelly. John, thank you.